whooping, cheering, and please welcome Campbell.
Hello. You all right, everybody? Having a good festival? Cool, right, well, something I'd like to do now, just a, sort of an exercise to help us get to know each other a bit better. If all of you, on three, could repeatedly do this until I tell you to stop, then that'll be fun, okay? So 1, 2, 3. You're only doing this because I just really like it. And also, it kind of sounds like an octopus falling down the side of a mountain, which is a sound I enjoy. So yeah, thank you for letting me get interactive with your faces. That was very, very nice. I'm originally from Essex. Is anyone from Essex? Generally is anywhere in the world. No one went, "Way!" That's probably the first time that's ever happened. So I'm originally from there. To try and bring you up to speed on what that's like, it's comparable to early 90s Sega Mega Drive beat-em-up classic Streets of Rage, or any similar game, because what seems to be the same man will come up to you over and over again and try to fight you. I was there recently, and this group of kids intentionally bumped into me, right? One of them looked me in the eye and rapped at me. Did a little rap about how shit I am. It really seemed fair, as he's never met me. And, you know, at this point I got like the poster to every recent Eddie Murphy film. I didn't know what else to do, so I said to him, all you do is rap about how good you are at rapping, bitches, guns and drugs and brapping, nothing else seems to be happening in your sad little life except wild exaggerations about the size of your knife, you little bastard. One side are in the park and you're plastered, you hang outside chicken shops, you smash up bus stops. It's like you're trying to answer the question, how much wit would a half-wit witter if a half-wit could emit wit? You're a tit! You'll end up on Jeremy Kyle, where what concerns him is the child. You've got to cut out the drinking and start the thinking, mate. Your cousin fucks your mates and you mate with your cousin, having kids by the dozen, churning out more little cunts, but listen, you should only be related to your children once. Cheers. And all his little mates are going, oh, you got done by Hugh Fernley Whittingstall! You know, I was quite pleased with that, because I can't rap. Right, but he was furious and he got back up in my grill and he went, oi, face it, your rhymes are basic as sure as the cat's out on the mat and that you prat, but my rhymes will leave you crying because I'm the king of the jungle like a lion. I was like, no, I'll stop you there, fool in the gang, alright? Lions don't live in the jungle, so that is factually incorrect. Lions live on savannas and would never have a reason to be anywhere near a jungle, let alone be elevated to the status of monarch. It's like calling a penguin the Duke of the Outback. Aristocratic penguin swanning around the desert wearing 2 monocles and a top hat. Yes! I'm the Duke of the Outback, and while I appreciate that it isn't your fault that the term King of the Jungle is inherently flawed when applied to a lion, you should really do your research. So at this point, as I was doing my impression of an upper-class, desert-dwelling, for some reason drunk penguin, kid said to me, oi, fop top, I'm getting sick of your pedanticism, yeah? And I said, I think what you mean to say is, oi, fop top, I'm getting sick of your pedantry. Pedanticism isn't a word. You know, if there's one thing I can't stand, it's an ignorance of language, so I wasn't afraid to point out his Forks Pass. He then told me that my mum is gay, but she isn't, so again, wrong. And I pointed this out, and at this point he told me he was going to shove my windpipe down my throat, right? And then the blows started to rain down on me quite heavily, but I didn't really mind too much, so I've been working out lately. I'm actually quite buff at the moment, you can probably see that, so it wasn't too much of a problem. But you know, even so, as a former child myself, I was appalled by that. I didn't do stuff like that when I was a kid, I just did normal stuff like drawing girls on my arm and kissing them because it feels like a person. Am I right, men? Yeah. Probably tell I'm quite a smooth guy. Often been found in nightclubs, intentionally dancing like a dad to attract teenage girls with abandonment issues. You're coming over and you don't know why. Often this has taken place in the toilet, so I've been drunk enough to think that a door with girls written on it just leads to some magical world full of willing women. Something else I like to do is to tell small children that, if you think about it, Casper the Friendly Ghost is really Casper the Dead Child. Before you judge me too harshly, I do this to help them, you know, because I think the sooner they get a dose of reality, the better. We live in a world with a real lack of honesty in it at times, and I think that should be addressed. The perfect place to start would be the advertising industry. I think the ideal honest Nike advert would feature a woman sitting in a sweatshop at a sewing machine. She'd turn to her boss and she'd say, "I can't go on, I can't possibly sew any more shoes." And he would pick up the trainer she's sewing, slap her with it and say, "Just do it!" You know, so we live in a scary world, and I think that needs to be reflected. You know, the recession's hit a lot of us hard, like a lot of people. I'm trying to bring in extra money where I can. There's actually a town in Essex called Rayleigh, and they had a football team that went out of business. So I bought them for £1 at auction, and I've changed their name to the Rayleigh Otters. And try and sell them to the actor Rayleigh Otter, in the hope that they'll appeal to his ego and, well, essentially that he's a mug, really. So, you know, it isn't just a recession that's scary, though. You only have to look at the news to see sort of there's a lot of horrible stuff going on in the world, and I watch the news and don't really always understand it. You know, I know the situation in Northern Ireland flared up again recently, and I learned about it at school, but all I really understand about it is that there's a big problem between the Protestants and the Capulets. Don't really get it otherwise. Similarly, the situation in Israel, I know that, you know, it wasn't there, and then suddenly it was there, and then that caused a lot of problems. But exactly the same thing happened in Milton Keynes. I don't seem to care about that. Right, this last thing I saw on the news, right? Let's bear in mind this is the year 2009, and this sort of thing's going on. This is the highest year ever recorded, right? Right, this group of kids got a group of tramps in a park, tied them to trees using bungee cords, put loads of food and booze in the middle, and forced them to compete for it, right? But the cords weren't quite long enough, and they kept nearly getting there and springing back and smacking into the trees, and the kids were laughing at them, right? And they filmed it, put it on YouTube, and called it Hungry, Hungry Jippos. And that is about all from me. You've been lovely. Thank you very, very much.